ねえすみれ、俺たちどこに向かってるわけ？
このジャングルで会いたいって言われたの。
誰に？
探検家。アイクさんも探検家に会いたいでしょ？
そんなのいないでしょ。
いるんだって。まあいいからとりあえずついてきて。この辺りのはずなんだけど。
本当にこんなところにいるの？
あ、いた。
え？
You must be Albert Lin. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sumire.
I'm Ike.
Hey, Sumire, Ike. Good to meet you guys.
So you're an explorer?
Yeah, I'm a National Geographic explorer. Maybe a scientist, a little bit of a philosopher, single dad. I'm Albert.
本当だ。
今日はナショナルジオグラフィックエクスプローラーのアルバートさんが私たちを探求の旅に連れてってくれるんだって。
マジで？
マジ。
National Geographic leverages the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to uncover and protect some of the world's greatest wonders. The lost city of Machu Picchu, the Titanic.
Sucker exists!
Unraveling the origins of mankind. Spearheading research on chimpanzees.
The fascinating thing is that so many of the gestures used by the chimps are the same as ours.
Since its founding in 1888, National Geographic has provided more than 14,000 research grants, supporting adventurers, scientists, educators, conservationists, and other changemakers around the world. Nat Geo explorers go further, dig deeper, and push harder to change something much bigger than themselves. There's a place for them to share their adventures and dreams. It's called the Spark. It's a forum, and it's also an opportunity to inspire a new generation. Follow me as I walk you through my most exciting moments as a National Geographic explorer. Ever since my quest to find the tomb of Genghis Khan in Mongolia, which started in 2009, I've been using cutting-edge technology to expand our knowledge of ancient civilizations.
Check that out, I can actually fly through both worlds now. Today's world, and then the secret ancient world.
Lasers that scan deserts, strip away dense jungle canopy, and scour the oceans to uncover the worlds beneath.
We're wading into uncharted waters. That's what a real lost city looks like.
Join me on this exciting quest across space and time.
Ne.
なんか興奮してきたよ。
でしょ？
Wait a minute. What happened to the scenery?
Yeah, I wanted to show you two this incredible new technology that allows us to travel through time and space, but while being in physically totally different places.
What do you mean?
Yeah, so, okay, well, you're in Japan, right? You're in Tokyo, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in Tokyo. I am actually in Los Angeles in a studio that's a green screen. And we're using a technology called in-camera VFX, where the camera movement and the panning actually also coincides with the background moving, making it feel really real. But on top of that, we're live streaming me composited into your world so that we are actually virtually sort of in the same place.
That's amazing.
Which is here,
Right?
in the desert. I think this is a desert. It
Yeah.
feels like a
It's
desert.
a
doesn't it?
desert.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And the green screen part of it's the best. It's actually my favorite part of it because I can do all sorts of fun things. Like I can make myself invisible.
yourself
You want to see this?
What?
I'm gonna do. Yeah, watch this. Ready? My green cloak.
Whoa.
Hiding out in case it gets really dangerous. Ah, there I am again. I'm in. I'm back. No, this is the future of Hollywood filmmaking,
Wow.
and we're using it to go exploring. That's what I love to do. I'm an explorer.
That's amazing. Albert, why did you decide to become an explorer?
Well, I think we're all basically born with the fire of an explorer in us, right? You grow up as a kid thinking, yeah, I want to go out and make all those discoveries and find new things. And then over time, you start to believe that everything's been figured out. But actually, I got my background in engineering. And the more I did, the sort of tinkering and problem solving around engineering, the more I realized that innovation can open new doors and exploration can go further, can go beyond. And actually, this isn't something new. This goes back to the very history of National Geographic, right? Where one of its original founders was actually an engineer.
Oh, really?
The very same guy who invented the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh.
So through history, innovation has had its hands completely tied together with exploration. And, that's why I think we're actually in the new age of exploration.
Wait a second. From engineer to explorer?
Yeah, well, you're an engineer too, right?
Well, I used to be a network engineer, but I quit that, and now I'm a Japanese comedian.
Well, I feel very funny right now, so I might have to outshine you. I'm gonna do my best.
Let's go, Yeah.
What about you, Samira? What about you? How did you end up in the deserts with me today?
Today, well, I'm from Hawaii, actually. I was born in Japan, but I was raised in Hawaii, and I came back to Japan to pursue acting and singing, actually.
I find that when it comes down to it, the whole world is open in terms of possibilities of discoveries. Right now we're in the desert, but I don't know, maybe you guys want to go somewhere else. I can take you to some of the places where we're finding the most new discoveries to be made.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to go.
Well, how about we start with Central America? Central America, maybe the jungles of Guatemala, where I can show you that new technology is completely changing our understanding of ancient history.
Wow.
You have your snake gators ready? There's deadly snakes out there.
Uh-oh.
I'm ready for anything.
All right,
go.
time to go.
All this wild jungle was home to a vast civilization, the Maya. That ancient world had been lost for centuries. But today, for the first time, we can see through the trees. And what we're finding, it's mind-blowing.
The Maya emerged 3,000 years ago in Central America, across a region of what is now Guatemala, southern Mexico, and adjoining countries. The Maya tamed the jungle, creating cities of dazzling scale and complexity, forging a civilization that lasted over 2,000 years. Recently, new archaeological sites have been uncovered thanks to a top-notch technology called LiDAR. A device loaded underneath an aircraft beams laser pulses towards the ground below. The shape of the terrain is gauged by measuring the exact time it takes for the laser beam to bounce on the surface and travel back to the device. This is where I conduct research, using digital technologies to explore the ancient world. And I've been given very special access.
Look at this.
To explore the new data on a giant scale. This is how the jungle looks from above. But when LiDAR strips away the trees, countless man-made structures appear. In all, an incredible 60,000 hidden features have been revealed. Deep in the Guatemalan rainforest, I'm setting out on a 2-day journey into the remote jungle.
I want to find out for myself what structures the LiDAR data is revealing.
At last, I arrive at the center of El Palmar, where I'm meeting with Guatemalan archaeologist Edwin Roman Ramirez.
That's it. Thank you. Edwin.
Hey,
Good to see you, my
good
friend.
to see you, friend.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hola.
This is the team that will help us today.
Yeah, awesome.
Hopefully this is a day of discoveries.
That will be really fun.
Equipped with GPS and the LiDAR map, Edwin and I set off into the jungle in search of totally unexplored parts of this city. We could very well be the first people here since the time of the Maya.
So we were just here, right?
Yeah,
But that thing's moving a little bit weird.
yeah.
I'm using my compass because we're having problems getting any kind of signal through the forest. The trees, they block our connection to the satellites that enable GPS. So now it's kind of just like old school Dead Reckoning with a compass, but with new school maps. And we're looking for a ridge that I think runs this way.
After hours of searching, we can finally make out a small but crucial rise in the ground.
See? Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, he got it.
Haha.
Fantastic. Good job, man.
Found it.
We found it.
Awesome.
It's a startling new discovery.
Wow, look at this. Oh, man. Look at all these bricks.
Maya ruins. Edwin starts to investigate.
But you can see how that is square. All of this is part of the structure. How I don't have words to describe it. What I am feeling, I only happiness. That's everything I can say.
Before this survey, the estimated Maya population in this part of the world was about 1 million. Thanks to LiDAR, it's now believed to be closer to 11 million.
We're not just talking about one new city, it's dozens. It's a scale of discovery, like you're saying, that it just blows everyone's mind.
When I saw the first LiDAR coming out, I said, that's the future. You know, that's what we have to do.
That's just mind-blowing to think about a civilization as enigmatic but also as studied and charismatic as the Maya being multiplied by a factor of 10 in terms of our known population and only in the last couple of years. But at the same time, it also tells me, you know what, we live in this golden age of exploration where huge discoveries can be made every single day on that scale. And that to me makes me just grateful to be alive in this moment in time.
Wow. So one of the researchers said that LiDAR is the future. I'm starting to understand what you meant when you said that new technology can change our understanding of our world.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is definitely one of those watershed moments, right? When all of a sudden, with something as simple as essentially a rangefinder. That's what LiDAR is. It's like a little rangefinder, but we put it on a plane, and we're able to punch through the trees and see what's on the ground beneath. And that gives us a map of the whole world beneath the trees with a way to digitally remove those trees. So if you think about exploration and you think about, you know, how much of the world has been overgrown, like the jungle, which is a super intense place to explore, technology like LiDAR is completely changing the game, completely rewriting how exploration is done.
Wow.
You know, and to be honest with you, it just makes it feel like feel like we've got to spend more time in the jungle.
Like exploring in the jungle seems pretty tough. What's it like?
Well, you know, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty intense.
Yeah?
It's been said to me over and over again that the catchphrase of the jungle is that everything is trying to kill you. What? That's not a lie, you know.
Oh, wow.
You get out of your tent and you're trying to fall asleep in a jungle is already difficult because of the sounds of the night are so loud. It's like a chorus of every animal in the world just sort of singing at you.
Howler monkeys in the jungle. Do you see it? Somewhere up there. He's right above me. He's right above me somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, what is the scariest wilderness situation you've ever been in?
The scariest?
For me, I remember, I was in my house and I think it was nighttime and I saw these, I was looking out my window and I saw these eyes, When I turned on the lights, it was a wild rabbit. I was kind of frightened. Yeah.
You got frightened by a bunny?
Yeah,
okay, that's Ike, you were frightened by a bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are gonna do great in the jungle. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah. When you get out of your tent at night and you turn on your flashlight, I swear there's gotta be about 1 million eyeballs staring back at you. Little ones, big ones, all sorts of eyeballs.
Wow.
Ooh, but I love that stuff, It makes me feel like, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're on a quest. And that's what, gets my heart beating.
I mean, I've heard LiDAR technology is used in home electronics. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, it's probably in your phone.
Right.
It's being developed for everything from face recognition to mapping the roads in front of you for your driverless cars in the future. It's all around us. These are technologies that are already integrated into our everyday life. We just don't even realize it. And then it's all about trying to rethink and repurpose how you might use something like that. The first time I went into the jungles, I think it was with, I don't know how many years ago, but it was with a bunch of students that were all video gamers.
Oh, really?
And they took the sensor of an Xbox Kinect and used that to map the inside of these ancient pyramids because it had this 3D mapping technology. That's exactly it. You can find new ways of using tech to try to solve problems that allow you to go further, to go deeper, to explore more. And that's why I think engineering and technology and exploration are all combining together in this singular moment to make an age of exploration like none other. But, it's time for us to maybe go somewhere else. What do you guys think?
Oh, where are you taking us next?
Yeah.
How about the Middle East?
Middle East.
I can show you there how we're using even another technology with LiDAR to rethink how we see the past.
Whoa, that sounds amazing, yeah. Take
Let's
us.
go.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Boom.
The Mediterranean city of Accra was once one of the centers of the Christian world and the gateway between Europe and Asia. It's really the first port of entry for European pilgrims, for merchants, from every point on the compass.
800 years ago, the maze of streets in this port city would have been packed with the faithful on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Many were wealthy, far from home, and in need of protection. Security was provided by a powerful band of devout but deadly monks, the Knights Templar. I'm here to track down their command center, and hopefully, the formidable treasure that could have been buried inside. All across the Holy Land, archaeologists have dug up coins concealed within 53 Crusader strongholds. After studying accounts from the 13th century, I've come to the conclusion that the fortress was probably located by the sea.
Down here, huh?
Don't worry, be happy.
Helping me in my quest is marine archaeologist Ehud Galali.
It's okay, come.
All right.
Trust me on that.
Your average walk on the beach. All right.
Welcome. Shall we start going?
Let's do it.
How do we know that it is Crusader? Because we see here the holes. There were iron clamps coming from here to hold it like this and so on and so on.
It's kind of like a sewn patchwork of stone.
Yes.
And this is the signature Crusader buildings?
This is a cultural marker because this is how they built. The iron clamps is a fingerprint of the Crusader.
Next, I have to measure the position of the stones in the lagoon.
Yeah, but let's do like a zigzag pattern across here, you see? Let's do it. Okay, cool. Let's go.
The drone will fly a grid pattern, scanning as it goes. The resulting model will be accurate to 1/16th of an inch. Next, we create a blueprint of the terrain using the traces of the foundations we just scanned. By connecting the dots, I'm beginning to understand how and where this long-lost fortress might have stood. But what did it look like? One relatively well-preserved fortress from the Crusaders still stands in northeastern Israel. The Belvoir fortress's ingenious design makes it particularly difficult to attack.
Where? It's a real maze. There?
Yeah.
One characteristic is a maze-like structure of walls, meant to confuse the enemy.
Now, working with the Crusader experts, this is how the footprints turned out. We're getting close now. Having gone to Belvoir, I understand the defensive structures to protect the Crusaders, but also their gold. Right here, in Accra, I located where I think their treasure tower should have stood.
The fortress is now coming to life, thanks to a technology called augmented reality, AR, which fuses reality with a virtual image generated digitally. The present and the past can now be superimposed.
Look at that, right there. Towering right above us here would have been a Templar fortress.
We built an app that displays the outline over the parking lot that stands here today. As I turn, my perspective changes, as if the fortress were really here.
It's the first time I'm seeing this. The reconstruction of what might have stood here 800 years ago. It's the stuff of fairy tales, and it's all right here, like a ghost.
But the full magnificence of Accra's fortress was reserved for those approaching by the sea. Strong outer wall towering over the coastline and a lookout stand that blocks all intruders. We now get a clearer picture of the impregnable fortress that once guarded the treasure of the Knights Templar.
Wait, So did you find the treasure, Albert?
No, honestly, it was pretty incredible. There is some of the Templar treasure that is locked away in this secret vault. And I'm not allowed to talk about where it actually is. We had to, swear our secrecy.
Oh.
But it was pretty incredible to hold a little bit of that Templar treasure and then to realize, the story behind all of that. And where it is now, who knows? Maybe one day, it'll be found. But, for me, the treasure is a story.
Is there a chance maybe that it'll be found sometime soon? Or ever?
Yeah. Well, maybe you're gonna find it. Now that we're doing this together, you're gonna wear that scuba diving suit and go out and look for it. It could be out in the sea somewhere.
Oh, really?
What I think happened was, basically the closest thing that we know is that some little bits of treasure were found in the bay on the other side of the tunnel where the treasury would have been held. So we think that some of the ships that were running away in that last battle might have been sunk there, and then some of them made it, and they continued on. Where they ended up, nobody knows.
So how did you come up with the idea of using augmented reality?
We live in an age where you can do that with all sorts of other layers of data. It just transferred over to this thing, which is something that I developed originally with my teams in Guatemala when we were using the LiDAR data and placing that into this geospatial map so that when we're going through this super thick jungle or flying over this jungle in our helicopters, we could peer down and see through the trees.
When you went to the Middle East and to find the treasure, when you were using the technology, it kind of reminded me of like when you, for example, if you grew up somewhere and you haven't been there in like 10 or 20 years and you come back and it's totally different and you kind of like reimagine what it was like back like 20 years ago, right?
Back in the past.
Yeah, like back to the, it's like a Back to the future, back to the past.
Back to the past. Yeah.
Back to the past, back to the past. Yeah, we've got a whole new film series that we're gonna call Back to the Past. We gotta trademark that. It does feel like that, and that's what I love about my job is that I get to work with incredible people that have the ability to find little bits of data here and little bits of data there and piece together a story. That's really the role of archaeology, but it also combines in the historians and the data scientists and the material scientists, and all these things come together to try to create almost like a forensic story of what was there once. And when you do that, and then when you can create this window into that, it just shows you how many layers of our story we sit upon. We use this phrase, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And that's really true. And I think that a lot of times we think we're living these really important lives, and we are, but we are on a much longer timeline of human history. And when you can realize that you're on that timeline and you see that you're almost looking back into almost like your own childhood metaphorically, it makes you appreciate things in a different way. And to me that, it's humbling.
なんか僕も冒険やりたくなっちゃった。
Albert, is there something we can do as amateurs?
Absolutely. It's actually it is the maybe the very beginning of a new age of citizen science, where technology that connects us can be used to help actually drive discovery. In fact, I started my career in Mongolia, and there I helped develop this platform that allowed tens of thousands of people to help us search for a very specific tomb. Have you heard of Genghis Khan?
Yes.
Genghis Khan, yeah.
Of course. He was a Mongolian conqueror that built a huge empire, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I think he probably is one of the most charismatic individuals in human history. And we don't know that much about him at all. He created the largest contiguous empire in all of our story collectively.
Wow.
Not knowing really anything about him seems like a huge gap in the chapters of our history.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up spending so much time looking for anything that might resemble a bit of truth about what really happened there.
After long negotiations with the Mongolian government, we finally received permission to search for the tomb of Genghis Khan. 31 people are participating in this expedition.
Stop! I haven't been able to sleep for almost a year now because I've been dreaming about this. Let's get in the cars, let's go. All right.
Genghis Khan died in 1227 after founding an empire that would eventually stretch from modern-day Hungary to the Korean peninsula. Some ancient texts say that he was buried on a legendary mountain called Burkhan Khaldun. I've zeroed in on a mountain range 160 kilometers northeast of Ulaanbaatar in a zone that is off limits to ordinary citizens.
The Burkhan Khaldun, it's not just a mountain, it's a whole mountain range. It's more than 12,000 square kilometers. To begin to investigate that area, it would take more than 100 archaeologists all their lives just to begin to look.
So we're asking the public to scan the entire area through the Human Computation Network and tell us where to go so we can find any possible trace of the Burkhan Khaldun.
To help with the project, we're mobilizing people around the world by creating what we call the Human Computation Network. We've uploaded 85,000 high-res satellite images and shared them through our website. Citizen scientists all over the planet are scanning these images and tagging anything that looks out of the ordinary.
This is the data that just came in today, huh?
Mm-hmm. These are the most recent tags that have been uploaded onto the data pads.
Hundreds of our citizen scientists have tagged this unusual rectangular shape on the satellite map. The GPS coordinates are then uploaded to us in the field. It turns out the site is less than 4 kilometers from our camp. We saddle up and get underway while keeping an eye on our data pads and GPS.
We come upon this thing that was identified by the public, made of rocks sticking out of the earth.
This is it. Wow. Ooh.
It's clearly a tomb, but it's too old to be Genghis Khan's. It's Bronze Age. It's more than 3,000 years old.
But what you can see, this is a very well-structured rectangular shape with these rocks set up like a home, you know. And the opening there represents a door, and always the door is facing south. So south is directly that way. So this is exciting because not only does it tell us that human computation works, but it gives us another clue that says that we need to look on the south side of the mountains.
I mean, if people hundreds of miles away in the comfort of their own homes can guide us through satellite images to this ancient gravesite, then I feel like we've got a chance to find the tomb of Genghis Khan.
How did you choose what places to go to?
Yeah, every day, you know, people would sift through little bits of information, and where they agreed, statistically, that's where we would go. So I was sitting on the ground with a satellite modem and my horse, and then I would sort of almost just like look up at the sky and wait for my satellite modem to tell me what people had said was the most likely place that they saw anomalies in the satellite data every single day, and then go out and try to find out where those places were really leading me. And then I would feed back, hey, this is what that was, or hey, this was what that was, back to the crowd. So it was this wild moment where I was literally being directed by tens of thousands of volunteers from space.
Wow.
To this satellite modem and this satellite imagery.
Albert, how did you come up with the human network idea?
One day I was sitting in a park. I know this sounds crazy. I was staring at the clouds with my friends. We were just looking up at clouds. Being like, oh, that cloud looks like a dog, or that looks like a cat. And then we wondered, maybe there's somebody on the other side of town thinking the same thing. I wonder if they see the same thing. Or maybe there's a lot of other people looking at the same cloud, seeing the same thing, or maybe it's different. And then all of a sudden, this this whole idea was applied to this challenge that we had, which was when we were building that project to try to find the tomb of Genghis Khan, the one thing we had was an overwhelming amount of satellite imagery. And to us, then the anomaly, what we were looking for, was in essence the clouds that we were staring at. And if we could get lots of people to work together, maybe we could find that one anomaly that we really, really wanted to find. We developed a platform out of this. We called it Tomnod, which means the big eye, basically, in Mongolian. Because the data is there. It's just there's too much of it. So now, trying to find ways in which we can sift through all that information, but using the power of human perception at scale, unlocks a whole new series of opportunities for how we respond to things.
But you could have just used AI, you know?
Well, actually, no, right? Because AI's got its limits. You have to know what you're looking for in order to train an algorithm to search for something, right? But the human mind, the human ability to perceive what's weird and what's different, or maybe what's beautiful and what isn't, those little subtleties of human perception are still far beyond what a computer algorithm can do. And so right now, one of the most powerful things I think that's evolving is how our connectedness, our collective consciousness can be harnessed to do incredibly powerful things. In fact, when Malaysia Airlines lost that plane many, many years ago, we had 6 million people online in a single weekend go through 2 million square kilometers of ocean imagery to try to find anything. We found a ton of stuff, most of it trash and things like this, but we didn't find the plane. But to me, that's an incredible thing. 6 million people working together on a single problem at once.
That's amazing.
That's the power of our connectivity. The computational power of minds connected around the planet is just beginning to show itself. And that's, I think that's one of the most, maybe the most charismatic things about this age we're in, the birth of our collective consciousness.
Wow.
Wait, so Albert, did you really find the tomb of Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I have to show you guys what we found. It's hard to say one way or the other, but it definitely is something super interesting.
Our destination is a mountain tagged by citizen scientists in the Khunti mountain range, a place of particular spiritual importance to the Mongolians. 800 years ago, Genghis Khan decided this place would be off limits to anyone outside the royal family.
We're all going up this side of this mountain. We're scrambling, not stopping. Just climbing up this mountain. And we come up into this dense pine grove and a little flattening out plateau. And at that flattened out plateau stands in front of us this huge shrine of blue prayer flags. It's called an ovu. It's eerie how spiritual you feel in front of this thing.
We decide to take a closer look.
As we started walking around here, we noticed rocks that start to kind of line up.
This could be the foundation of a building, but more work needs to be done. We're not allowed to dig on this sacred ground, so we've brought a device called an electromagnetometer. Archaeological remains have distinct magnetic properties. The electromagnetometer reads these as anomalies and creates a map of what's man-made beneath the surface. Morning, at the foot of the sacred mountain, and there's a surprise from yesterday's scam.
Oh man, we found something. We know it's big.
We just received this data, and we are seeing here a 2D map of the EM survey we made yesterday.
So the blue on the scan is soft, and it's like grass and moss or roots, whereas the red's really exciting for us because Above the bedrock, anything that would be there would be man-made. It would be anomalous, like a wall or a tomb chamber. It's really exciting to look at these scans.
That's really sweet.
This is very nice. Yeah.
That's very nice.
That's very nice.
The data confirms Fred's hypothesis. The stones we found are forming a straight line, and those lines, I mean, they gotta be walls. Plus, the structure's even bigger than we originally thought.
While we're continuing our research, suddenly out of nowhere, an epic storm is right on top of us.
Oh man, if you just look into that valley deep down over there, you can see what's coming at us. That's looking pretty brutal. Come on, Shai, we gotta go.
Maybe something bigger than all of us doesn't want us to find the tomb.
And the next day, we're slogging up the mountain again. The muddy trails have been washed out from the rain. I mean, this crazy storm had come through, and we're seeing evidence of it all around us.
Oh man, is this just full? It just came down.
The storm last night just pounded at this hillside, and what it's kind of done for us is continue to wash away the layers of the past. And it's given us examples like this, just sitting there in the roots of the trees. I mean, you can see here this perfectly preserved end tile to a ceramic roof, which is beautiful on the front. But what's really interesting to me is when you flip it around on the back and you can actually see the fingerprints of the artisan who made it. I mean, this is amazing because now I'm actually doing the exact same thing, running my fingers across what somebody else did.
A ground-penetrating radar helps us see what's down there. It's hard to read, but the red areas indicate wall foundations.
It looks like we definitely have a man-made structure here. You had two rectangles, one outside of the other, but the one that's in the middle, from this scan, is very obviously below the outer wall.
Could this be a burial chamber underneath some kind of commemorative temple?
This is amazing. This is what the non-invasive tools can do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Good scans.
All right,
Thank
dude.
you.
So was it actually the tomb of Genghis Khan?
Okay, well, look, the truth is we can't say definitively one way or the other. But right where I was looking, right on the southeast flank of that very, very specific mountain, on a little plateau, these trees tossed up all of this material as they fell in these storms. And they were like these windows into the earth, into the past. And they kicked up all these roof tiles and little fragments of horse bones and horse teeth. And we were able to use things like thermoluminescent dating of the tiles, these roof tiles, beautiful little roof tiles, or radiocarbon dating of the horse bones. And what came back was right around, I'd say somewhere, the data showed out of a bunch of samples that the range of some of these materials was right around 1217 to 1270 something of when they were made, or when these animals lived. And Genghis Khan, he died in 1227. So the dates pretty much match up. The location is exactly where I was looking based off of the historical text and the help of the citizen scientists to find out where that mountain was based off of this large shrine we found on the top of it. But without, DNA evidence that ties us back to the lineage of Genghis Khan, or without, a sign found in a plaque buried in the ground contemporarily saying this is where the tomb of Genghis Khan is, you can't say one way or the other. And we haven't, really been able to dig because that wasn't part of our journey. That wasn't what was allowed.
So you weren't able to dig because it's sacred ground.
Yeah, well, that's the truth. This is sacred land, and this tomb is still sacred. And trying to look in new ways as a technologist is why we got access. But we weren't going to break the traditions that still live on today, and that I think is important, right? These are still cultural traditions that say don't destroy this tomb, that are still very, very much important to the Mongolian people. And so if you can look without breaking those cultural rights, then that's the role of the future of archaeology, I think, to try to look with new ways. But we were able to go to a place that's been forbidden to go to for 800 years, okay? to step into a land that's literally been established as a sacred land by Genghis Khan himself, and to cross a border that the likes of Marco Polo wrote about and couldn't go to me, that, I don't know even how to comprehend that in my mind. But a good friend of mine once told me that if you're really looking for the tomb of Genghis Khan, then all you really have to do is look into the eyes of any nomad and you'll find him there. You'll find his spirit there, right? And that's really true. That's what I felt while I was out there.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
だんだん日が暮れてきて、
いや、めっちゃ綺麗。
すごい綺麗だね。
とても綺麗だな。
It's beautiful, huh, Albert?
Yeah, it's like a insta sunset, right?
Wow.
Albert, you said this was your first adventure with National Geographic. Why did you choose Mongolia?
I just became so interested in the story of Genghis Khan. I learned about, one version of that. Many people think of him as just a conqueror, a bloodthirsty warrior, but that's just one side of the story. To the Mongolians, it's about charisma. It's about a person who changed the world. In fact, they have a story where his entire world began with the love of a girl.
What?
Love of a girl? Tell me more.
I would, but the sun is setting and I gotta go. So maybe it'll be next time. I'm gonna pull out my little virtual reality green screen. I'll see you guys in a bit. I promise. I'm gonna tell you more soon, but I gotta go.
Where are you going? あれまだ見えてるぞ。大丈夫？
Albert, we can still completely see you.
No, you can't. Just pretend I'm not here.
雑やな。
Exploring the world, unraveling ancient mysteries, the tomb of Genghis Khan, lost cities of the Maya. Join me, Albert Lin, in my quest to redefine our understanding of history.
土曜ミステリーファイル夜8時